Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
This is episode number 2 of the Troy and Danny Show, where we are giving you an appreciation for how Troy and I met, which we did last time. And we'll continue telling you how we got into what it is we're doing now, which we call datalogical services. Troy is datascientist.com, and who knows what will be tomorrow, but we have want to give you an appreciation for where we went from meeting to where we are today in forming this company, which is kind of like what we're trying to do is solicit people's attention and maybe some business along the way. But Troy and I just had a conversation about what's behind all of this. And I feel pretty safe in saying that we're a couple of guys that, and I mean this in a good way, that want to have fun. And that we think that if we follow our natural impulses, our instinct, and what we do and enjoy doing, which is kind of like the primary requisite for doing what we do and have done in our lives, is to enjoy it. Because if you're enjoying it, I think you're going to be doing a better job than you would be if you were doing something you didn't enjoy. I don't know, Troy, you agree with me on that?
Yes, I do so much. And I think it is a great opportunity well, for everybody to, take that advice and do what they love doing. And, the dream is that when you follow your passion, there's a catchphrase like turn your passion into your profession or your profession into passion. That way, I mean, you get paid to do things that you love doing, and it's not a job anymore. And, naturally you're going to be having fun. In my industry, data science, and as a data scientist, we have the capability to choose where we apply our skills. And, the earlier you can get into that space where you're working in a domain that you love, the better. So this is the beauty about data science, is that it can actually help people not just do tech and data and software development, but to apply it in a general interest, whether it's in the arts or finance or healthcare. These are the opportunities that are presented for data scientists because it's so new. People are looking for a data scientist in these different areas of business.
Let me ask you a question, which I think everybody's just sitting on the edge of their seat waiting for the answer is,
okay.
And to put you on the spot intentionally is,
Sure.
What is data science? Can you tell us what it is?
Well, I believe, this concept of data science and what it is has been around a very long time, and it's really, the essence is about collecting information, gathering data, making some decisions on processing that data, and then, taking action. Now, it seems very fundamental, but why data science has emerged is because the amount of data that we've been able to collect through computers and the speed at which technology advances, these opportunities call for a data scientist to help manage the data, to apply new technologies, to help us get more effective and efficient in taking the actions. So this is what, data science is to me, and what, I promote in how to be a data scientist is to really be a technologist and to be open to learning new things, be passionate about what you do, and go about the world with utilizing everything that's available, including and specifically data and technology.
You know, I'm excited about knowing you about knowing a data scientist, and I'll tell you why. Because lots of times I feel like I've been left behind. That technology is advancing so fast and it's getting so complicated that even if I started today, that it would be like years before I caught up with where we are today and not where it would be then. You know, I would be so far behind. And I got to the point where I'm thinking, okay, I don't have to know the law, for instance. I can find a lawyer, right?
That's right.
And if I want to understand technology, then working with a data scientist has a distinct advantage for me, because you guys speak a number of different languages. You speak mathematics, you speak analytics, you speak data management, you know, you speak coding. I mean, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of understanding what you need to understand on a basic level, like the difference between a byte and a bit, right?
Sure.
Okay, do I need to know that? Well, it's helpful. And how can you build such a complicated system on zeros and ones? You know, and if I want to know that, of course, I can Google it or, you know, internet it or find out from a very accessible source their interpretation of what that means. But that doesn't mean that it helps me relate to that data and how it can actually empower me or give me an advantage I didn't have before. Right. I mean, and two, I don't have the interest. I mean, I would like to know, okay, here's all the information. There's a shoebox full of information for you, right? Can you tell me what it means? Well, you know, do I feel like there's something wrong with me because I can't tell for myself? Or is there just too much information out of context? With you know, does the information in the shoebox relate to other information in the shoebox? Because the information in the shoebox comes from my life, and maybe something that's coming into my life, and I need to understand a way of dealing with it, a way of coming to a conclusion or a decision or a way forward. And then I start getting lost, you know, and I start feeling bad about myself because, you know, I'm not a data scientist and I need a data scientist. So I've got you, right? I mean, am I making sense?
Well,
of
yeah,
trying to understand how data science fits into my life.
I agree. Yeah, with your points is that, you know, everybody has their own, the way I put it is gift. Everybody's put here on earth for certain reasons, and the reasons that are hidden behind what they're good at and the gifts that they can provide to everybody else. And also when they're doing in that, you know, gift mode, and you see it, you know, naturally gifted children and they're the ones that, you know, find it early on, or just, you know, it's unmistakably there. But for the majority of people, we have to try and find, you know, what are we good at and where do we go to, you know, find something like we started the conversation in, where they can work and get paid for it, and they're just applying their natural gifts. And not everybody's a data scientist. So the gifts that, you know, I feel best to have is to be able to, you know, look at data and see what's, you know, there, and be patient with that, and whatever needs to be learnt can be learnt. And, you know, my main interest is in healthcare, where I've gained most of my experience, and the combination of learning openly and approach of lifelong learning with the you know, patience and understanding of, you know, sifting through a shoebox of data excites me. And this is what, you know, is unique to, I guess, data scientists and myself, is that we enjoy actually going through the process of data collection, analytical process, and then telling the story of what the data is saying to us and presenting it in a way that makes sense and understood by other people, so that we and others can make, you know, take action or do something about, you know, what we have learned.
So the decision-making power still rests in the individual, but the result of the data science analysis, let's say, would be suggestive.
Well,
Or does it do that? Does it say, well, we think, you know, you should turn right at the next corner? Or there's still a lot of data that's not included in that, like the personal perspective. So it still ends up being my choice, right, about what I do.
yeah, well, I mean, there's a number of different angles on that as well, is that when we sit next to, so as my industry in healthcare and epidemiology, I work next to an epidemiologist, and they tell me, you know, we're looking for this. Can you, here's some data, you know, what does it say? And I can present the information based on, you know, what I have been given. And it's up to them to make the decisions. In some cases, they say, well, that data is not right. And, you know, there's some issue with data cleaning, or, you know, the repository was, the data repository was the wrong one or out of date. So they would know by the information that was presented whether or not it's right or wrong. I wouldn't know, because I'm not an epidemiologist, but, you know, I get to learn and understand a little bit more about it as we go. So it's a complementary, you know, teamwork, that we sit next to others in that domain expertise, developing our own interests as well. But our main interest is in, you know, doing the tech side, the data and the, you know, software development, the machine learning and algorithmic processing that is a domain as itself. And yeah, helping others achieve and apply data and technology to whatever it is that they're looking to do, whether it's, you know, yeah, looking at causes of cancer, or agriculture, or financial systems, or insurance.
You've got my attention, but would like to have an example, a real life example, so that I can apply it. You know, I understand logically the process. I'm wondering how data is related to information. They're two different words, so they mean something different. It's like, is data like mortar, which you can put anywhere? You know, you can build a set of stairs out of mortar alone, or you can put bricks together using mortar in between them. I mean, help me understand, when you get data with a real life example, how you utilize it, or have utilized it, to reach a conclusion that you take an action on.
Well, yeah, to step away from healthcare, another area that we're doing a data science project at the moment is in vertical gardens. So it's the process of using data and technology to help a garden grow. And it doesn't need to be a vertical garden, but just any garden that, you know, has plants. What we're doing there, okay, so the example is that you come to the plant and it may look like it needs to be watered, or you know that you need to water it every day. And you're in that process of watering it every day. So that takes time. And, you know, what we have done with this particular project is help people not have to water the plant every day. It has a pump that turns the water on. And
So you've automated it.
we've automated that process. So essentially, yeah, and it can be any process, but we look at a process that's being done repeatedly and then see whether technology can come in and automate it and do that as kind of what's popularly known as robotic process automation, so that we can give people more time to do something else. And then in this case, they don't have to worry about it, they watering, but they can spend more time looking or smelling the flowers, looking at what they've got growing. Now,
So you haven't replaced the human at all. You've just assisted them,
well,
or taken one of their duties, which is essential but non-essential to have a human do it, and automated it so you can turn your attention to something else, put more attention on a different aspect of, let's say, growing a plant. Maybe it's tomato plant.
Exactly. Well,
Because you've got other things like insects and the amount of light and so on, which all can be automated, I guess. Huh?
Well, yeah. And what the next step is actually to present more information. So we use sensors in the soil to measure the moisture, and we can display the moisture levels, so that if there is any extra attention needed, the human can come in and say, well, I'm going to change the watering schedule because I know it's just been raining and the moisture level is at this percentage, so I'm going to stop the automation process and just let it or modify it. But yeah, we want to ensure that there's still interaction by a level of people needing to come in and look at the plants, but still provide a level of automation that allows them to discover or to find new ways of controlling other problems, like you said, pests or insects, keeping them away, and or applying perhaps some nutrients when some other disease or fault is coming in the plant.
It sounds like augmented education, right? That you're teaching from a human-centric point of view, an individual how to do a better job at what it is they're doing by providing them with information they wouldn't otherwise have, and providing them also with alternatives or alternate ways in which they can approach something, which opens up different avenues for them in their creative thinking about the future of what it is they're doing, to bring a business aspect into it.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, we have technology there, and we can very easily use it now for a concept such as growing a plants. And automatic timers have been around for a long time, where you put on your tap and it just turns itself on. But this is taking it a step further, where you can actually control that timer from anywhere in the world, as long as you've got an internet connection. And you can interact with that data in saying, should I keep it running at 3 o'clock today? Or, what the moisture level is telling me is that it's got enough water. Now, finding the balance between that is the process of data science, because we could make a totally automated system that as soon as it reached a certain percentage of moisture would turn the tap off and keep it at that level. But it would need to be quite a sophisticated system to cover all different plants in all different environments.
Not that you couldn't do that.
Not that it couldn't be done, yes, but having the human come in and say, this is the specifics and these are the alterations that we want to make, it is, yeah, in itself, like you're saying, a learning process. So the human gets to learn what the garden's doing, and if we wanted to, the artificial intelligence behind it could learn from what the human's telling them. So great data science projects, consider that and allow for the development of more and more automation and more and more enhancement of an interactive, a human-computer interaction that allows the person to, go to the next step in terms of the main goal of growing plants, and not let them just, walk away and forget about the plants, but they got to come back and be focused on, this is the goal of growing these plants.
I know you've started a data scientist union, right? Which is 104,000 people around the planet, each one of them with either a desire or a skill somehow associated with data science from your perspective. And I think you recently added the word amalgamated to the title of the organization. And that's from your origins with LinkedIn's datascientist.com. You were able to pull all these people together. How's that project working? And it sounds like you have the potential for 104,000 other projects or more, because then, you get two guys or two girls or a guy and a girl working together, it doesn't matter about the sex or whatever, but you've got two different data scientists with areas or domains of expertise interacting together.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of your union?
Well, yeah, the union is still a new concept. What we do have right now is the LinkedIn group, which, does have 104,000 members, and it's called Data Scientists, and that's the link to draw people to the group. We have a very, mix and array of people in the group, about 20% of them, and it's growing every day in terms of the number of data scientists that we have in the group. But at the moment, about 20% of the people applying have the title data scientist. And why we're going with something more, so we started with, creating a union, the craft union of data scientists, but moving to something like data scientists amalgamated allows us to kind of open up the doors to those that perhaps don't have the role data scientists, because it's not that determined requirement for us to be called a data scientist in order to do what a data scientist does. And it's just about applying technology and using data to help create more effective and efficient ways of doing things.
So I may be a data scientist and not know it.
Well, yes, that's right. I think in some ways we are all data scientists, and this is my theory, that built on the sorts of things I was saying before, where we've been doing data science for a very long time, but now applying data and technology gives it its own kind of unique reason to have a role as a data scientist. So the example I like to use there is like cooking. Everybody in some way has made a meal for themselves, whether it's a sandwich or a 3-course meal. You've experienced cooking, but not everybody is a master chef. And the data scientist takes what we do on a daily basis is absorbing data, making decisions and presenting and taking actions into this really refined mastery of data and technology and action taking. And that's the difference. And the group, yes, we're looking for people to be a part of this amalgamated union of people that are interested in these concepts of ensuring that we're using data and technology that is available, and not just because it's there, but using it for a sustainable purpose, and ensuring that we moving in a direction that enables growth, but not damaging in any way.
You know, you've just given me a different appreciation for data science. Why this came into my mind, unless it's associated, I don't know. But I was laying an irrigation line, right? And I was using a shovel. And this is on like an acre property where the house sits.
Yeah.
And, you know, then somebody suggested, they said, why are you using a shovel? I said, because I've got to do this, you know, I've got to sink it down 18 inches below the frost line, et cetera, et cetera. And they said, no, you mistake me. Why don't you use a ditch witch? And it was like, what's a ditch witch? And it's like, well, it's a machine that digs that trench for you. So all you have to do is lay in the pipe, right, with its different sprinkler heads and so on.
Yeah.
And it was like, I started thinking, well, that's kind of using my skills, but also utilizing technology, advanced technology, from here's a scoop or a shovel or a hole digger, or whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
And then there's a ditch witch, which you can rent, you know, for 24 hours for like $20.
That's right.
And so why would I do that? Because it's labor saving, right? It goes through tree roots a lot faster. It's gasoline powered. I learn a different skill, and it expands my imagination in terms of what else I can do using technology that's available to me.
That's
and
right.
so I'm thinking, okay, I think I just made a connection, right? How to use technology as a labor saving device without understanding, you know, how to build a ditch witch, which, you know, I wouldn't do that. I recently went through that whole thing about trying to build my own log splitter. And I bought all the parts, and then the guy says, you know, let me show you something. He took me out behind the shop, and there was a log splitter already there, done by some company. That was like, this is all the stuff I'm looking for. And he said, yeah. Now we could put $600 worth of labor into the, you know, the I-beam and the steel and all this other stuff. And, but I think it'd be a lot more economical, unless of course you're going into the log splitting business, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I wanted some control. I didn't want to buy or take what they were giving me. I wanted to be inventive. I wanted to apply myself. I wanted to be a part of it, you know, as opposed to hiring somebody else to come and do it. I wanted a living appreciation for getting my hands on it and feeling a sense of pride in knowing that, you know, the product was because of my efforts. And I'm thinking, well, if I use a computer, maybe I feel cheated, you know, because you reach a conclusion based on a lot of data or a lot of information, and then I have to still go out and do something.
Yeah.
Well, help me out here. I'm drowning.
The collaboration aspect. I mean, and it's why we're a complementary or a facilitating group, the data scientists. They can be there if you're going to get the ditch digger, and you are you know, getting it done really quickly, but you may decide that, you know, you're not getting the exercise you want, and then as a data scientist next to you saying, look, you did get the digging done, but you were really enjoying that, and you know, if you were reporting to a digital sense that, you know, the energy or, you know, the exercise you were doing was actually making you happier, then the data scientist could say, well, yeah, you got the job done, but hey, look, you put on, you know, this much weight, and, you know, your plan was to actually use that as an excuse to get outside and be there for 3 days. And so the data scientists can present that information and say, let's not use that technology, but, stick to the goals that you had in mind, and, or find alternative ways and say, okay, yeah, you got the digging done, but you actually wanted to spend some time exercising. So make sure you don't forget about, doing some energetic work as well.
Oh, I had to fill in the trenches, and
Sure.
managing that machine that was, all
Well,
that was a different kind of exercise. So I
right.
benefited in ways I didn't even imagine. It
Yeah.
was an eye-opening experience. And I think I related to that because of the things that you were saying, right? I remember when logging was unpopular in Oregon and the Northwest, and they said, well, learn to code, right? Kind of like what the political administration is doing now. And it's like, you're out of a job, okay, learn another job.
Mhm,
Well,
mhm.
it's not so easy to do that, but if I'm a lumberjack and I want to clear a forest, let's say clear cut a forest, could I use technology, your data scientist, to help me understand what I'm doing better than swinging an axe or pulling a saw? How would you
Well,
get involved in something like that?
yeah, I mean, it's all about being aware of the information. So if we can digitize the process that, and just speaking like crudely, it takes a certain amount of effort and energy to chop down a tree and time. So just on those aspects, if there is a goal to increase the efficiency of chopping down trees, then that could be applied analytically, saying, okay, it takes this amount of energy and this time to chop down the tree. Okay, where are the bottlenecks? Where are the resistance? What's happening as we're going through the process? And as a data science study, you could identify, well, most of the energy is coming through here, and we're just making things up, I guess, as maybe, if we put some oil on the axe, it's less resistant and it will chop it through a fraction of a second faster.
Or maybe we could mechanize, right, with chainsaws or something like that. So
Yeah.
it seems to me that you're offering me different perspectives, right? It's kind of like having a bunch of experts or loggers or whatever lumberjacks hanging around.
Mhm.
And it seems to supplement the idea of learning from our elders or learning from people who have a great deal of experience, translated into a kind of, science, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Instead of a person who may not be adept at being able to explain it in a way and you can understand it. So you provide them with technical assistance, make them aware of different ways of doing things, different levels of efficiency, which to me sounds like it's always good.
It's a big area in sports, actually, now that we're able to collect data and, analyze. And starting with video, they can now see, different gameplays, whether it's football or other, sports. They can see, what sort of energy and interaction is involved in, and then start to say, well, if you make a change here, you're going to save on energy. And then, it might give them that split second or, a tenth of a second difference in becoming between, some of the sports that they're doing in terms of track racing or swimming. It means a difference between, a gold medal and a silver medal. But
it sounds like everything is becoming smart, right?
yeah,
You got smart cities, smartphones, and maybe even one day smart people.
Well, yeah, I think the people will always be the smartest aspect. I mean, computers can only do so much. They do what they're told to do. But, you know, if we put a computer in place to analyze a certain situation, whether it's, you know, growing a plant or chopping down a tree or playing a sport, because of where we are right now, we can collect data on it. And, you know, there was a time where it was too expensive to even consider putting sensors on sports players and recording as they, you know, run. But now, because of how cheap the technology is and ubiquitous it is around us, we can collect this data. And then because we have new roles such as the data scientists emerging, we can put someone on it and say, okay, what information comes out of this and what does it mean? And so that combination of the technology being cheap enough and also the aspect of being able to store the data for, you know, a long time we've had Moore's law decreasing the cost of data storage. So keeping the amount of information is, you know, almost next to nothing. And then, yeah, these roles such as the data scientists to apply their skills and love of looking at data and seeing what can be gleaned from the information and doing it in a way, yeah, that is, you know, working with others. So it's not I mean, it really is a team effort to derive some great results from whatever data you're looking at.
Do you store raw data or do you store the analysis of raw data, or both? So would the analysis become the raw data itself?
Well, yeah, it is a cyclic process, and, you know, an iterative and agile approach where the results of one analytics will be the input of another. So that's how we can, I mean, contributing to the growth of data is that as we take information that, you know, if we go back to the plants, and we analyze and record the moisture levels of our plants here. I'm here in Brisbane, Australia, and put that, and I know that, you know, it's doing us a benefit by whether or not we need to order it. But if that's made publicly available and then others around Australia, we can compare, okay, how much water was used in Brisbane compared to Sydney and, you know, Melbourne, and that becomes the input of another research, and then that could be used globally in saying, you know, this is what Australia has its thresholds in terms of growing this particular plant and the amount of water used, and let's compare it with the US.
Very interesting stuff. As a matter of fact, I think this is a good place to stop.
Sure.
And we'll do another series tomorrow and talk about something else. But for our viewers, we want to instill some kind of an appreciation for data science with you, because that is our business, and how it affects you. And what I've tried to guide us towards today was the variety of different venues in which data scientists can apply, and how it can help people do a better job, enjoy their life more, save the planet, I think, you know, is in the back of Troy's mind and mine too.
Yeah.
And, you know, utilize our resources wisely. Because we know we're surrounded by an abundance of everything, really. And we have a lot of waste. We have a lot of energy that goes towards disposing of things. You know, I've often asked myself, when somebody says, just throw it out, where is out? Right? What do you mean just throw it out? We should be careful and resourceful and ingenious every time we do something. Conserving our resources, not squandering them, and then, you know, keeping an eye on the future. if we want the planet to survive, and I do, and I know Troy
Exactly.
does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
great.
Yeah. So look for our video number 3. This is video number 2.
Yep.
Hopefully we're getting a little better at what we're doing, and we'll continue doing it until we get to be just as sharp as a pin.
Great.
Right, Troy?
That's right.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone, very much. We'll catch you next time. Okay,
Bye. Bye.
great. Bye.
I'm just